Hi everyone, I'm Jo. Today we're going to look at a technique or a stitch. It's going to be quite a quick demo. It's a stitch that I've not covered with you yet, and it's called St. Petersburg stitch or St. Petersburg chain, and we're going to look at the single version today. I've made a little bracelet. It's quite delicate, but it's still effective. This is using size 11 seed beads. It's great as a chain for a neckline piece as well, if you've got a pendant to use. And as I was beading it up, I was just thinking, actually, fantastic for some little chain dangly earrings that are so popular at the moment. So I'm going to show you how to do this single St. Petersburg chain, but for the purpose of the demo I'm not going to use size 11 seed beads, I'm going to use size 8s because they'll be a lot easier for you to see. So here you can see it in a bit more detail. Here's my St. Petersburg chain made with my size 11 seed beads. I've used the Duracoat Galvanized Champagne as my main colour, and I've just used a matte black, also in a size 11, as my accent at either end of my chain, top and bottom. And I'm just going to use the same colours but in a size 8 seed bead so that it is easier for you to see. I'm using a size 10 beading needle, and I'm using 6-pound fire line in black satin, just because if I used the white, the crystal colour, it would show up when I'm using dark beads, so I'm less likely to see the thread using the dark thread. So as I said, this is going to be a quick demo. I'm not going to bead the whole chain or the whole bracelet. So start with a comfortable piece of fire line, something that you're comfortable working with. I tend to work with a double wingspan if I'm making a long project, but for a bracelet you're actually only going to need a wingspan, so middle finger to middle finger with your arm stretched out to the sides. That's kind of the length of thread. It's probably about 1.5 meters. You'll see I've added an extra little bead. This is my stopper bead, which I'm going to start with, and a stopper bead does what it says on the tin. It stops everything falling off the end of your thread. So I'm moving it down towards the end of my thread, and I'm going to pass the needle back through the bead, and this makes it a stopper bead. Just get my tail thread out the way there. Right, so to start our St. Petersburg chain, I'm actually going to start by picking up an accent bead, and I'm just going to let that drop all the way down to my stopper. Then I'm going to pick up 6 of my main colour. 3, 4, 5, 6. I see there's a few 11s that have got muddled up in this tube as well. Just move them out the way. So I've got my 6 size 8s, and I'm going to let those drop down towards the accent bead. Now, ignoring the stopper bead and ignoring my accent bead, you're going to pass the needle back through the 3rd and 4th bead. So we've picked up 6, 1, 2, back through the 3rd and the 4th, just like that. Pull your needle through, and I will move my fingers out the way, it's just holding things in place a little. And you'll see that you now have 2 columns of beads. So I've got my stopper, my accent, 1, 2, 3, 4 of my main colour. Those are the 3rd and 4th beads that I went through. And this is bead number 5 and 6 that's formed a column of 2 to the right. So to go forwards, we need to go backwards. We're going to pick up an accent bead, and we're going to bead back through the top 3 beads of that left-hand column. And now we can go forwards again, but before we pick up any more of our main colour, we're going to pick up another accent and bead through the 2 beads that form the column on the right. So if I pop that down, you'll see my thread is now exiting the column on the right. I've only got 2 of my main colour. I need to pick up another 4 to make the original 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. and I'm going to let those drop down to the rest of my beadwork. And again, I'm going to go through the third and fourth bead of my main colour. So this time it's the first 2 beads of the new 4 that I've picked up. So I'm popping my needle through number 3 and 4 of my golds. Pull the needle through, and you'll see that number 5 and 6 make a little column of 2 to the right again. So I've got to come back in order to go forwards again. I'm picking up an accent bead and beading back through the top 3 beads of the left hand column again. Now I can go forwards, but I'm going to pick up an accent bead because I want an accent bead at the bottom and the top of each little stack of 4. And I bead up through the 2 gold beads in the right hand column. Now I've got 2, I need to pick up another 4 to make my original 6. So I've picked up 4 golds and I'm letting them drop down. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going through number 3 and 4. And that means that number 5 and 6 are going to form a little column of 2 to the right again. There they are. So I'm coming backwards in order to go forwards, back down through the first 3 on the left hand column. Ready to go forwards again, but I need a stopper bead, pick it, not a stopper bead, an accent bead, and through the 2 beads on the right. So you can see how my chain is starting to develop. I'm just going to bring the original one in. So this is in the 11s. You can see the difference in the size there. But you can see you get that lovely slanted chain effect with an accent bead top and bottom of each column. So we'll just do another one quickly. I've got 2. I'm going to pick up 4 to make my 6 gold. And I'm going to pass the needle back through number 3 and 4. And I need to come backwards in order to go forward, so I pick up an accent bead and I come down through 3, pick up an accent bead and up through the 2 on the right, ready to continue. And you would do that the whole way along until you had a length for your necklace or a length for your bracelet. Now, to make both ends the same, so on this end here, if I just move the stopper bead out the way, I've got an accent bead, 4 golds on the slant, and an accent bead in that first row, or that first slanted column. And I want to finish off the same way. So at the moment, let's pretend that I've beaded all the way along the length I require. I've got an accent bead and 2 golds in my last slanted column, so I'm going to pick up 2 more golds to make the 4. Then an accent bead, and I'm going to go back down through those beads, and I can go through all of them now, that's fine. So if I move my stopper bead back up, you'll see that you've finished with a similar column to the column that you started with, and your bracelet or your chain will be balanced, and then you can just add in your clasp, your chosen clasp. It's a great chain to use in a long lariat for a necklace. So have a go, experiment, use different sizes. Instead of using a seed bead accent, why not use a crystal or a fire polish bead? It will add a bit of sparkle to your chain. Hope you've enjoyed this simple little St. Petersburg the single chain. I'll be back soon to show you how to make it into a double chain. So if you don't want to miss out on that, be sure to hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified when I upload the new content. And thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments below and I'll answer them.